Welcome back. All right, so we got 8 games tonight in the National Hockey League. Some interesting results, some goals scored, some comebacks. A lot of fun stuff to watch tonight. So, that being said, we're going to jump right in with the Anaheim Ducks and the Philadelphia Flyers. It was Stolarz versus Ersson in this one. Stolarz had such a great start to this one, too. His stats don't end up being great at the end of the night, but hey, I like Stolarz. York has a shot that's caught and held. The Flyers press at 3 minutes. They're blocked out, though. The Ducks doing a good job of blocking. They lead in the shots 4-1 5 minutes into this. Farabee has a rush chance that's held. There's a power play for the Flyers. Ducks do not let them set up. They kill that off. Cates couldn't bury one in close. Stolarz really good to this point in the game. He was becoming the story. Too many Ducks on the ice, so the Flyers get a power play. That becomes a 5-on-3. Comtois was serving the too many men on the ice call. He came out of the box, and he had a break. He couldn't bury one on that break. Puck goes the other way. Comtois fails to clear, and it's in the back of his net. Hayes with the 5-on-4 goal from D'Angelo and Konechny at 13:32. The Ducks press with 4 minutes left. Van Riemsdyk has a rush chance that saved. Klingberg's denied. The Flyers had 14 straight shots before that Klingberg one. JVR misses the open net in the closing seconds. So, it's 1-0 Philadelphia after one. Could have been worse. Second period, early power play for the Flyers. That's killed off. Ristolainen has a shot that saved. The Ducks ice it. They're having some troubles here, but at 7:39, they tie it. It is Henrique from Klingberg and Zegras. That was the 8th shot on goal in the game for Anaheim. The Flyers had 24 at that point. Flyers pressed to respond. Stolarz with saves, and the game is really tied because of Stolarz. Shots are 9-4 for the Flyers with 9 minutes left. The Ducks get a power play. That leads to a shorthanded goal, and it's Ristolainen. Yep. Risto with the shorthanded goal from Lawton and Konechny at 12:43. The Flyers then finish the kill. Carrick has a wraparound that's held, and in the final minute, the Flyers, they add to their lead. It's Frost from JVR and Ristolainen at 19:22. So Risto with a goal and an assist in that second period. Jones then has a near miss in the closing seconds as the Ducks are trying to answer. So after 2 periods, it's 3-1. 2.5 minutes in to the third period, Hayes gets a goal from Lawton. It was the first shot. It was on a turnover, and it was after a good press by the Ducks. In fact, 4.5 minutes into the third period, the shots are 6-1 for Anaheim. Konechny has a rush chance that's held. The Ducks get a power play. It's the Anaheim feed. I didn't have a choice of the Philadelphia feed. What's with the tail? And I'm talking during the live game, like putting a tail on the puck. No, I know. If you want to have a separate feed where there's a puck with a tail on it and it labels all the players, fine. But doing that during the live game, it's no. So the Flyers do kill that off, maybe because the puck had a tail on it so they could figure out where it was. Vetrano has a blast that's held. 2:46 left. The Ducks get a power play. I can honestly say, going back to when I was a little kid, never had a problem seeing the puck. And that was on one of those tiny little 13-inch TVs, black and white too. Anyways, I know I showed my age. These things happen. I had a black and white TV. There was a color TV in the living room. Just want to make that clear. On the power play for the Ducks that was happens with 2:46 left, Shattenkirk scores from Strome and Klingberg at 18:51. So now that they were only down 2, you might as well pull the goaltender. That gives Hayes the empty netter from Allison and York at 19:16. With 19 seconds left, the Flyers get a power play that just closes it out. The final score is 5-2 for Philly. They go to 19-19-7. Anaheim 12-28-5. The shots on goal 17-4 for Philadelphia in the first, 13-9 Philadelphia in the second, 14-9 Anaheim in the third. Final shots 39-27 for Philadelphia. Power plays Anaheim 1 for 3, Philadelphia 1 for 5. The hits 25-17 Philadelphia. Stolarz saves 34-38. Ersson saves 25-27, despite the tail on the puck. All right, next up, Florida in against Toronto. This game was absolutely ridiculous. If you didn't see this, you missed some just bonkers action. That second period was absolutely ridiculous. I guess the count on the power plays was off because I swear there was an 8th power play for Toronto, but according to the official stat sheet, there's 7. So in the third period, there wasn't power plays, which is good because I was running out of room. So it's Bobrovsky versus Murray, early edge to Florida, and they score on their first shot. It's for Hagee from Ekblad at 1:52. Panthers do look for another, but at 2:38, Toronto answers. It's Hunt with his first as a Leaf from Riley and Aston Reese. I know Riley's taken a lot of heat from some Toronto fans. I don't understand. If there's Toronto fans that think that Riley's bad, by all means, as a fan of the Canucks, we'll take him off your hands. Tyler Myers is a big defensive defenseman. That's a perfectly good, solid all-around. And he's a free agent next summer, so you don't have to worry about long-term or anything. Don't worry about Riley. Anyways, Leafs then get a power play. Tavares has a shot that deflects out. That's killed off, just the one shot. Shots are 4-2 for the Leafs at 7 minutes. Lomberg has a rush chance. That's saved. The Maple Leafs go back to the power play. That's killed off. Tavares is denied. The Leafs get their third power play, and that leads to a shorthanded goal. It's Lundell from Barkov at 12:34. Now, Barkov had a break. The rebound goes to Lundell, and he buries it. So, just a tough break for Murray on that one. It then became 1 minute and 34 seconds of 4-on-4. Mahura has a shot that's blocked, and then, because it's a parade, on a power play, Kerfoot scores from Yarncroke and Liljegren at 15:10. I don't know, maybe I'll just get an abacus for these kinds of games so I can try to keep track of who's got what power play where, because when they're making that many calls, and then in the third they don't call anything. Are you telling me there's nothing to call? Anyways, so it was quite the parade here. And then at 18:04, Mahura scores to put Florida back in the lead from Gudas and Denisenko. And that was on a failed clear. So it's 3-2 Florida after one. 5 seconds into the second, there's a power play for the Panthers. Now, initially, it looked like that the Florida player had hit himself in the face, but this was the case first, and then he got hit with a stick by a Toronto player as well. So, 2 sticks, I think it was on Tkachuk. So, his own stick hated him, and so did a Toronto stick. Checks out. On the first shot of the second period, Barkov scores from Montour at 1:40, and that was the end of the night for Matt Murray. Samsonov was in. So, rough night for Matt Murray. I've seen a lot of posts about Murray tonight, and the dislike towards Murray is there. But hey, without drama in the net, is it really Toronto? So Liljegren has, and I say that going back to Ellen Bester. Like I'm talking about way, way, way back. So Liljegren has a shot that's held as the Leafs press. The Leafs get a power play, it's number 6 or whatever it is. Panthers aggressive penalty kill. The Leafs are getting really frustrated at this point in the game. When you get frustrated, you can tend to take a penalty. So the Panthers, they kill that off, and then there's another power play for the Leafs. And it felt like the Leafs' power plays were getting worse. Like it felt like they were, even though they have a power play goal from Kerfoot in the first period, it felt like as the power plays were on, they were becoming more frustrated with the penalty killing by Florida. This was a chippy, borderline dirty game here. So this was a tough one. But that power play gets killed off. And then it looked like the Leafs were getting a power play, but the Panthers get a power play instead. So that's unusual. I don't remember seeing that in a game before where you put one team's player in the box and you go, actually, we reviewed it, and no, you're not good. We talked it over, and you're not in the box. The other team is. It's weird. So things get punchy on a stoppage in the Leafs end. Probably some very confused, angry players. Aston Reese, kind of, versus Gudas. Gudas kind of... This was great. I have never seen Gudas duck like that. That was absolutely just Aston Reese goes to take a swing at him, and Gudas just drops. So Florida gets the power play because Gudas didn't touch him. That's killed off, just the one shot. With 14.4 seconds left, the Leafs get what apparently was their 8th power play, but it's their 7th. So the Kerfoot goal must not have been a power play goal because it was listed as a power play goal. I heard them call it a power play goal. So, whatever. Matthews gets a power play goal at 19:58. Or no, that is the second power play. Never mind. That is the second power play goal. It was Florida that had the one power play goal. Nylander and Marner with the assists at 19. Hey, there was a lot going on in this game. Really. There's a game that I thought, maybe I need dolls to show what happened in this one. This is the game. So we're going to the third in what is a fantastic 4-3 game in favor of Florida. Tavares has a wraparound that's saved, and then Nylander, one goes in off his helmet, because why not? Right? Why not have it go in off his helmet? Now, if he intentionally had headed it into the net, it's no goal, but it went off his helmet. So Marner and Giordano with the assists at 5:59, then the Leafs press for the lead. With 8.5 minutes left, the shots were 7-3 in favor of Toronto. And at that point, the game didn't die, but you could tell both teams were playing to defend. And there wasn't a whole lot going on. So it felt like overtime already late in the third period. This is a very important game for both teams. Toronto wants to make sure that they stay ahead of Tampa. They want to keep pace with Boston. And for Florida, they're desperately trying to get back into the hunt. Winning a game against a divisional opponent will help with that. So we go to overtime. Florida 0-3 in overtimes this season. Toronto came into this one 3-6. Leafs control early. Marner could bury one. The Leafs reset. The Florida Panthers get it. Bennett fans on an opportunity, and then after a turnover, Nylander buries one on a net drive from Timmins and Tavares at 1:53. So while people may want to focus on how Matthews isn't necessarily scoring the way he did last year, Nylander's picked up the slack. The score, and this is Matthews is still on pace for 40 goals, but at any rate, Toronto wins this one 5-4 in overtime. They go to 27-11-7 with the win. Florida drops to 21-10-5 with the loss. They're still 0 for the overtime. Shots in this one, 14-7 Toronto in the first, 13-8 Toronto in the second, 9-4 Toronto in the third, and they had the only shot of overtime. That's the shot that matters. Final shots, 37-19 for Toronto. Power plays, Florida 1 for 3, Toronto 2 for 7. The hits, 28-16 Florida. Bobrovsky saves 32 out of 37. Rough night for him statistically after some really strong starts lately. Murray saves 4 out of 8, and he will be a topic of conversation now until he has a good start. Samsonov saves all 11 shots in relief. He didn't get the same level of shots though that Murray did. Now I'm not saying Murray had a good game. He didn't, but it felt like Florida wasn't getting those same opportunities. They had a lot fewer shots. So I mean that works. It works, right? All right. Next up, I knew that was going to be a long part of the review. Minnesota in against Washington. So it's Gustafsson versus Lindgren in this one. Entertaining matchup right there. Wild press at a minute and a half. They're kept to the outside. There were no shots in this game in the first 5 minutes. This was a chess match. Neither team able to set up a press either. Then there's too many Wild on the ice, so the Caps get a power play out of that. Early clear by the Wild. It then becomes a minute of 4-on-4. The Caps press during the 4-on-4, but everything gets killed off there. There were no shots on net during either of the power plays either. So there's that. Orlov has a blast that's held. The shots are 4-1 for Washington with 8 minutes left. Neither team has a scoring chance either. So these are 5 shots from a distance. The one shot for Minnesota, I think, was just a dump in from center ice to get a line change. There wasn't much going on. So Hartman has a chance that's blocked. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4, and then at 18:57, Fehervary scores from Ovechkin and TVR, that being Trevor Van Riemsdyk, wires it from the slot. I think of him as TVR, but I know there might be people who say who, so it's Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Ovechkin's then denied before the horn, but it's 1-0 in favor of Washington after 1. Early in the second, and there was an early press going on, Washington tries to clear it. Spurgeon gets it and blasts it in at 50 seconds. It was a screenshot. There was no chance for Lindgren on that. Johansson's then denied on a net drive. Of course, Johansson with the Caps. He has played with Minnesota before as well. So shots are 2-1 for the Caps at 4.5 minutes. Boldy has a shot that's blocked. Caps clear it out, and they score. Strome scores from Fehervary and Ovechkin at 5:05. So chance at one end, and it's in the net at the other. Wild look to answer. The Caps press with 9 minutes left. The Wild press the next shift. They're kept to the outside, and then it's Brodin. Brodin scores from Dewar and Dumba at 13:12. That is the first goal of the season for Jonas Brodin. The Wild then look for the lead. They end up getting a power play shortly thereafter. That was killed off, but then Spurgeon gets his second of the period from Dewar and Reeves at 18:15. It's a screenshot again. It was very similar to the first goal that he had, so they had a system here and it was working. Coming into this one, Lindgren had an excellent save percentage in second periods. That took a hit tonight with 3 goals on 14 shots. Third period, early power play for the Capitals. That's killed off. There's a press by the Caps at 4 minutes. Another Capitals power play. That was killed off as well. Then they press with 8.5 minutes left. Ovechkin has a shot that's held, and then there's some pushing. Orlov has a screenshot that was held as well. Steele's then denied on a fast break. They'd pull the goaltender with 2.5 minutes left with 1:22 left. The Wild ice it. The Caps call a timeout. That leads to an empty net goal for Minnesota. Eriksson from Freddie Gaudreau at 19:06, and your final score is 4-2. Minnesota have had the troubles lately. They get the win in Washington. They go to 25-14-4 with the 4-2 win. The Capitals 24-17-6 with the loss. So the shots in this one, 13-3 Washington in the first, 14-9 Minnesota in the second, and then 14-5 Washington in the third. This was a game that had some changes of momentum. So the final shots are 36-22 for the Caps. Power plays, Minnesota 0-2, Washington 0-3. The hits were 33-31 Minnesota. Gustafsson saves 34 out of 36. Lindgren saved 18 out of 21. So overall, pretty solid game. Fun to watch. Let me know your thoughts. Next up, Jets. Jets in against Montreal. I had expected that this one might not have a lot of tension in it, but I had expected Winnipeg would win it. So Winnipeg, of course, now the number one team in the West. Tonight's game, though, we'll see, how they bounce back from this. So it's Hellebuck versus Montembeault. The Jets press at 2.5 minutes, but the shots 5 minutes in are 5-1 for the Habs. So the Habs are getting the chances. Hellebuck's keeping it scoreless. Jack-Eye has a screenshot that's held. Pitlick had a shot that was kicked aside. Again, I like Rem Pitlick. I know he's going to end up back in the minors, but I like Rem Pitlick. Jets are stuck on one shot for a while. There's a press by the Jets with 9.5 minutes left. The Habs get a power play. That's killed off. Connor with a net drive chance, that's saved. The Jets with some momentum in the second half. They didn't play an awful game all the way through here or anything. There's a power play for Montreal. Jets do not let them set up, and that's killed off. So we go to the second period. Jets have a full power play to start the second because of a penalty at the end of the first, and they score on it. At 1:24, it's Connor from Morrissey and Ehlers. That is goal number 200 for Connor. Good cycle. And there you go, right? That's 1-0 Winnipeg. This is what we expected to happen. However, Habs get a power play, that's killed off. And then at 7:46, Dodonov started to get goals now. He scores from Barron and Dvorak. Buries that one from a sharp angle, just blasted it home. And then on a rush at 9:28, Hoffman scores from Doc and Barron. So Justin Barron with his first point of the season on that one. Jets with a 3-on-2, that's broken up. There's a rush chance for the Habs there. Then Pizzetta had a rush as well. That chance was held. And then Dodonov hits an open net on a rebound from Dvorak and Savard at 13:30. The Habs press with 4 minutes left. There's a near miss for Pitlick on a 2-on-1. Perfetti had a rush chance. That was saved with 1:02 left. The Jets get a power play. So that rolls over into the third period. The Habs finish the kill. Still up 3-1. Scheifele has a net feed picked off. The Jets press at 3.5 minutes. But at 4:19, Anderson buries a rebound after a great save on Doc. Matheson with the assist on that as well. It becomes 4-1. The Jets press with 2 minutes left. We had a fight between Lowry and Jack-Eye. But in the end, your final score is 4-1 Montreal. They go to 19-23-3 with the win. Winnipeg 29-15-1 with the loss. The shots in this one, 10-6 Montreal in the first, 11-10 Montreal in the second, 10-7 Winnipeg in the third. Final shots, 28-26 for the Habs. Power plays, Winnipeg 1 for 2, Montreal 0 for 3. Hits, 25-20 for Montreal. Hellebuck saved 24-28. I thought he played well, just Montreal got some nice goals. Montembeault saved 25 out of 26. And now I need to change boards. All right, so Nashville at home against Columbus. This was a game that really surprised me as well. This was a night of some surprises. In fact, these results all kind of surprised me on varying levels. And we'll get to why this one surprises me. I don't mean that as an insult to Edmonton or anything. So, Tarasov versus Lankinen in this Columbus-Nashville matchup. Ekholm can't bury one in close. The Preds had the early chances. Shots are 2-0 in their favor 3.5 minutes in. Columbus presses at 4.5 minutes. The Blue Jackets would draw a power play. Nashville doesn't let them set up. They kill that off. Duchesne had a net drive that was saved. The rebound's held. Preds draw a power play. Yossi has a shot that's kicked aside. They cycle it, but that's killed off as well. So it's scoreless after one. Second period, near miss for Forsberg in the slot. Shots are 3-1 for Columbus at 3.5 minutes. Lankinen holds a line A chance, and then Cody Glass would score. Forsberg and Duchesne with the assists at 5:42. Preds then get a power play shortly thereafter. That's killed. Jackets press at 9.5 minutes. There was a power play for Columbus, and what a power play. I like Kevin Lankinen, have for years. That power play's killed off 7 shots. 7. So Lankinen, pretty big boots on that one for somebody else to try to fill next game. So Marchenko has a chance that's saved, and I know there are other goaltenders. Saros, the goaltending in Nashville's become ridiculous. However, Marchenko has a shot that's saved, and then at 16:55, Trennan would score from Yossi. Columbus tries to answer. Lankinen holds. We get some pushing after that. There wasn't a lot of that in this game, but it's 2-0 Nashville after the second period. Third period, early press by Columbus. Jenner and Laine are both denied. Quality from Lankinen. Just can't say enough good things. Marchenko was denied. Rebounds held. The shots, there were 5 Columbus shots in the first 2 minutes. A lot of them highly real quality. The Jenner denial was shown quite a bit on the Columbus feed. So the shots are 6-2 for the Jackets of 5.5 minutes. It really felt like it was all Columbus there. They end up drawing a power play. Jackets looking to score on one-timers. I think they understood that they weren't going to get like a goal on Lankinen unless it was one he wasn't anticipating. And eventually they get one, but it's 1 second after the power play ends. It's Nyquist from Roslovic and Blankenberg at 9:01. There's a power play for Nashville. That's killed off. And the Predators did their best. They pressed late, keeping them from pulling the goaltender until it was really late. And so Nashville wins this one. They win it 2-1. They go to 21-17-2 with the win. Columbus, a miserable record of 13-29-2. Shots 12-9 Nashville in the first, 15-11 Columbus in the second, 16-5 Columbus in the third. Final shots are 40-28 for Columbus. Power plays, both teams 0 for 3. The hits 29-20 Columbus. Tarasov saved 26 out of 28. Yeah, he was pretty good too, but Lankinen saves 39 out of 40. So way to overshadow Tarasov in a pretty decent return to action tonight. So, yeah, real nice goaltending matchup there. Next up, Chicago and Buffalo. So here's one that did surprise me, not going to lie. For Buffalo, I mean, they're only 43 games into the season. There's still 39 games left. Yada, yada, yada. They're not looking like they're making it, are they? So, it's Anderson versus Mrazek. The Sabres press at 2 minutes. More zone time for the Sabres, but they're not getting shots at this point. Bryson tips one wide. There's a net feed to Thompson. That's picked off. And then on Chicago's second shot, it goes in the net. It's Murphy from Khrushchev and Taves at 8:41. Dickinson then hit a post on a turnover. So, Chicago's all over it here. The shots are only 5-2, though, for the Sabres with 9 minutes left. So, Chicago's just taking advantage when they have the shots. One post and one goal on their attempts. Murphy has a shot saved, the rebound's cleared, and then Olofsson scores to tie it from Jost and Mittelstadt at 12:15. Sabres press with 2.5 minutes left before the period's out. They get the lead. It's Tage Thompson from Skinner and Tuck at 19:53. So after the first, it's 2-1 Buffalo. Second period, Dickinson has a chance that's held. There's a power play for Buffalo. That leads to a shorthanded chance for Lafferty that was saved. They do kill that off. Too many Sabres on the ice. The Hawks get a power play. And Krebs scores shorthanded. Yep, at 6:21. And then the Sabres finish the kill. So now they're up 3-1. They've got momentum. The special teams are working in their favor. What could go wrong? Cousins to Quinn is picked off where the shots were 9-1 in favor of the Sabres 9 minutes in. Thompson nearly adds one. Radish is then denied on a turnover chance. Seth Jones is denied as the Hawks press. And the Hawks press again in the final minute. So the Hawks did a good job of evening up the shots before the period's out. But going into the third, again, it's a 2-goal lead for Buffalo and Chicago. Really, that probably should have done it. However, on a power play, wasn't a power play goal. Nope. I don't even know why I put PPG up there. That had to be for another goal. So it's tipped in. Khrushchev scores from Lafferty and Seth Jones at 1:34. And then Dahlin has some words to the referee as they're celebrating the goal. And gets a 10-minute misconduct for it. So, whoops. Now, what's interesting is the Sabres press for an answer, and the announcers pointed out Buffalo's kind of playing better without Dahlin out there, which, again, you guys can discuss whether or not you agree with that. Seth Jones has a shot that saved. The rebound's cleared. The Sabres get a power play. Chicago kills that off. Khrushchev is denied on a rush right after that's done. Jokiharju has a shot that's caught and held. Girgensons has a knuckler. That ends up being caught. Those pucks that kind of flutter through the air, those can be tough for a goaltender, and those are the ones that when they go in, they end up on highlight reels everywhere. They end up on a Dang It's video. There's a post for Tyler Johnson, the Hawks press. Mrazek gives one away, and then Samuelsson can't hit the empty net because that would have been awful for Mrazek. Because I thought, okay, so they pulled the goalie? How is that net wide open? No, Mrazek just gives it away. Seth Jones then scores to tie it from Khrushchev and Tyler Johnson at 19:04. It was a screenshot. They reviewed it to see if there was goalie interference. Good goal. So we're going to overtime. Sabres control. McCabe steals it, though. Domi was denied. The next shot's held. The Sabres hand it off to Chicago on their next chance. Mittelstadt's denied on a 2-on-1. The puck goes the other way. It's in the net. Seth Jones from Tyler Johnson at 2:24. Your final score is 4-3 for Chicago in overtime. They go to 12-26-4 with the win. Buffalo 21-19-3 with the overtime loss. So the shots in this one, 11-4 Buffalo in the first, 10-9 Buffalo in the second. Both teams had 10 shots in the third. Chicago outshoots them 3-2 in the overtime. Final shots 33-26 for Buffalo. Buffalo 0 for 2 on the power play. Chicago 0 for 1. Hits 28-13 Chicago. Anderson saves 22 out of 26. Mrazek saves 30 out of 33. And if you're a Sabres fan, you might still have Chelsea Dagger stuck in your head. I know it's in mine, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's in somebody else's. All right, next up. Detroit in against Arizona. And another one that looked like it was done and then nope. So it's Hellberg versus Ingram. Early press by the Coyotes. The shots are 5-4, though, for the Wings at 3 minutes. So pretty wide open start there. More pressure by the Wings at 7.5 minutes. They controlled a lot of that first period. The shots were 13-5 in their favor with 9 minutes left. So they were getting more than a shot per minute. Coyotes get a power play. That becomes a 4-on-4. Everything's killed off. We're scoreless after 1. Second period, Hronek has a net drive that's saved. Berggren has a shot that's saved. The Wings press. Coyotes are having turnover issues at this stage. The shots are 5-1 for Detroit, 4.5 minutes in. Wings are standing them up at the blue line as well. Berggren then has a rush chance that's saved. The Wings end up drawing themselves a power play, and they score on it. It's Larkin from Seider and Bertuzzi at 8:34. 1-0 Detroit. This had to be where everything gets started, right? Hronek has a shot that's saved. Fabry fires one wide, but then Bjugstad scores from Chychrun and Krause at 11:09. So it becomes 1-1. Perron nearly answers on the next shift. Coyotes, though, they press with 5.5 minutes left. With 3:24 left, the Wings draw a power play. That was killed off. It's 1-1 after 2. Even though the shots are 30-11, the shot attempts are ridiculous in favor of Detroit as well. It's a tie game. Third period, Gunther has a shot that's held. Krause fires one wide. The Wings clear. Wallman has a blast, which is a near miss there. And then Suter. A great setup by Fabry. He takes the punishment there to set it up at 4:51. So Suter gets the goal. Fabry with the lone assist. The shots are 2-1 for the Coyotes at 5.5 minutes. The second shot, Detroit got one in as well. It was Perron from Rasmussen and Kopp at 5:49. He's at the side of the net. He puts it in. It is 3-1 Detroit. We're 5:49 into the third period. It looked like it was done. And there were a lot of Red Wing fans in that crowd. There were a ton of Red Wing jerseys there. I even swear I heard "Go Wings, go" at one point. So then at 6:43, less than a minute later, Boyd goes posting in from Krause and Stetcher. And then at 7:53, a little over a minute after that, it's Gunther from Krause and Bjugstad. And so when you have those opposing fans in the audience and they're cheering on the home or the road team, it can get the road team going. It can also fire up the home team a little bit. And so I think that's probably at least part of it. The Coyotes draw a power play. There was a shorthander rush by Larkin. That saved. The power play's killed off. 2 shots allowed. Gunther's then denied on the doorstep, and the Coyotes pressed in the final minute. We're going to overtime. Coyotes control early. The Wings are pinned down. The Coyotes cycle. Brief possession by the Wings. I think the first 2.5 minutes, the Coyotes had the puck on a string. Keller's denied as the Coyotes control, and then Rasmussen goes beast mode. Could not bury it. So we go to the shootout. Schmaltz scores. Perron has a shot that saved. Bjugstad scores. So you had to get a goal if you're the Detroit Red Wings. You just turn those around. Because I'm used to putting the home team at the bottom, right? So, there we go. So yeah, Perron saved, Bjugstad scores, and then Larkin missed the net. So the shootout win goes to Arizona. It's their first win in 10 games. They're lucky. They'd lost that 10th in a row, and I thought they were going to. I was like, I guess I have to do a video on Arizona's losing streak, even though we anticipated it. So it's a 4-3 shootout win. They go to 14, 25, and 5 with the win with the shootout loss. Detroit 18, 17, and 8 overall. The shots in this one, 17-7 Detroit in the first, 13-4 Detroit in the second, 10-9 Arizona in the third, 2-1 Arizona in the overtime. Final shots are 40-23 for Detroit. Power plays, Detroit 1 for 3, Arizona 0 for 2. The hits, 31-27 Arizona. Hellberg saved 20 out of 23. Ingram saves 37 out of 40. Really good game for Ingram, and nice to see him end with a save percentage over 900. All right, last game of the night, I promise, and then we're done. Seattle in against the Edmonton Oilers. So the home team hadn't won until tonight in this season series. There's still one more game to be played in Seattle. Jones versus Campbell. Evander Kane was back. Didn't get on the board, but it felt like there was definitely some energy to the Oilers tonight. Early jump for them, but the early power play goes to Seattle, and they score on it at 3:11. It's Sprong from Schultz and Burakovsky. So this is one of those things, right, where it's like, okay, Seattle's on the road. They're really good on the road. The Oilers press to tie it. The Kraken, though, they go back to the power play. Bjorkstrand has a shot that's held. That's killed off. The Oilers then draw a power play. That was killed off as well. But after that's done, at 14:08, McDavid scores from Draisaitl. Beautiful goal on the rush. McDavid is having this ridiculously good year. He's at, 38 goals now. He's probably going to hit 60, and we can all act surprised about it. The Oilers, with momentum then as they seek the lead. 2 minutes left. The Oilers get a power play. There's a shorthanded rush by McCann. Seattle controls, and Fogel's denied on a break. So that power play was killed off. Now, early in the second period, there's a lob to Fogel that nearly connects, and if that had, it would have been a beautiful goal by Fogel if he'd buried it. The Kraken press at 2.5 minutes, but at 3:15, Derek Ryan. It's a screenshot. No chance on that one for Jones. DET-ARI and Holloway with the assist. DET-ARI's been good since coming up. It's always nice to see a guy come into the league in his mid-20s, completely unheralded, and play well, and that's what DET-ARI's been able to do. Nurse has a shot that saved the Kraken rush. Kraken press at 8.5 minutes. Campbell holds. Campbell had another good game. So Jack Campbell, everybody was, ready to just declare his career over and worst contract in history, and he had a good game. That happened. Shots are 8-6 for the Kraken at the half, and then at 12:30, Fogel gets a goal. He was all around the net tonight, so he gets one from Draisaitl and Hyman. And I think it was like the third opportunity he had. Jones was down. There was bodies in the crease, and he just puts it over the bodies in the crease and into the net. So that happens to make it 3-1. Power play for Seattle, that's killed off. No shots generated on that power play. Really solid game by Edmonton. Kraken press in the final minute. However, it is 3-1 Edmonton after 2. Third period, Dunn scores from Wenberg at 22 seconds. Wired it on the rush. And it was glove side too. So this is where I'm sure some Oiler fans got a little bit concerned. The Oilers press to respond at 1:23. Oilers bounce. Hyman gets a goal. So good on Hyman. There you go. It makes it 4-2, restores the 2-goal lead. So power play for the Oilers, that's killed off. And at 9:18, on a rebound after, I think it hit the crossbar initially, the Holloway shot. And so McLeod buries it. McLeod from Holloway and Hyman. So Hyman with a goal and an assist in the third period. Seattle presses with 5 minutes left. They get a power play with 1:27 left. Doesn't matter. Your final score is 5-2 for the Oilers. They go to 25-18-3 with the win. Seattle with the loss, 26-14-4. They've now lost in back-to-back days. That's how quickly things can turn around in the National Hockey League now. Shots 13-7 Edmonton in the first, 14-9 Seattle in the second, 11-10 Edmonton in the third. Final shots 33-31 for the Oilers. Power plays, Seattle 1 for 4, Edmonton 0 for 3. So surprising, they didn't get a power play goal. They get the 5 goals though. There you go. Hits 43-36 for Seattle. Jones saves 28 out of 33, and Campbell saves 29 out of 31. It is interesting that Grubauer was in the game last night because they were saving Jones for tonight, and if they'd done it the other way around, maybe it would have been different. But at any rate, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.